Oh, one of those days. I turned on the, I guess, option to stream, and the first thing I see is that the tab on the side is acting up, or it's saying that something went wrong. And I try to click it off, just keep trying to click it off, but it won't go away. So, I thank the Lord I have two devices because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to see what's being said on the other side. So if anyone writes anything, I can just look down there and see it. Instead of having to look at that big white wall of of nothingness. Something went wrong, and then you're like, okay, what happened? Something went wrong. Okay, what happened? Something went wrong. Just insanity. But yeah, we'll try this for about an hour and see if anyone shows up, and then if they do, we can continue. If they don't, then it'll just be then one of those days, one of those streams. Hmm. Push this back a little bit. So we've been finding out more stuff about that Sparking Zero game. I really do regret the whole nonsense that happened with that PC I had because it looks like something I'd enjoy playing. I'd imagine. I mean, I was always a big fan of the previous Budokai Tenkaichi games. Um, my only aversion so far, and usually with these fighting games, there's always some part of the roster that's kind of just doesn't quite sit well with me. I can't imagine. So again, this game is supposed to be a sequel to Tenkaichi 3. And for the life of me, I just can't understand the decision to not include any GT characters. It's being rumored by some people that there'll be DLC, but I just think it's weird. Like there's some basic ones that I just kind of expect each like when these games call themselves being inclusive of the different series to have. Um, I mean, Super Saiyan 4 Goku is just really, really iconic, well liked form, right? Even people who don't like GT like that form. Same thing with Gogeta, with Vegeta, base GT Goku as well, and then Pan and Trunks to a lesser extent. Again, just like basic characters, Baby, Super 17, Omega Shenron, like if we don't get them in that game, that's a point against it for me. Just because it's like okay, if it was its own series, cut out whoever cut out whoever you want. I gave fighters a little bit of discretion with that one, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, here's the sequel to this game that came out in 2007. Oh, it has less characters in the game that came out in 2007. Who would have guessed? No, I'm betting they'll probably go the DLC route and we'll get the microtransaction extravaganza where, oh, you want to play as Goku and how he looked for a majority of one of the four series? No problem. Just pay an extra $10 and wait however many months. No, they're just weird. These companies are always looking for a way to scrape some coins. And that's one of the biggest reasons I've retreated from a lot of modern gaming. I just get tired of the constant like again microtransactions. They can never just put out a complete game, and the DLC for this stuff can sometimes go for years. I mean, I remember just sitting back one day looking at the DLC for Xenoverse 2 and just marveling at how I'd never seen any other game. I'm not some big, huge, giant fan of games, but I've never seen any other game, like heard of a game that had 12 DLC packs where, hey, you want to play this game and an extra 30 characters, just spend 50, 60, $70. Just nuts. Absolutely insane. But these companies have really allowed themselves to just cheat fans. I mean, they go around, they make a big stink out of, something coming out, and then they just sort of convince themselves, yeah, people will buy anything. Oh, they've been hungry for a new Dragon Ball fighting game that's not, I guess, got that side scroll angle, right? The one from Fighters. Oh, okay. Well, we'll satisfy their taste, but we'll also make it to where they have to like jump through hoops to be able to even, play this stuff. Like it's really crazy. Let me see if I can open this on another tab, and then that'll give me a way to look at the. Okay, there we go. I'll pause it, and that'll be that. Nice little overlap there. I've never seen this before where it just will not display the opposite tab for me. It's really bizarre. But I said a lot of times I just deal with stuff with this site and with these computers that kind of comes out of the blue. Like I remember there was that one day back in March where I got up to do a stream. I think it was on a Monday, and I was so disgusted by how the screen was just black. Like I couldn't see myself. And at first I was thinking, oh man, maybe the stream is active. But the stream was it like it went fine. You can watch it and not see anything messed up with it. But for whatever reason, it just wasn't displaying on my end. Like I couldn't see myself. It's nuts. No, these sites always have some problems or issues going with them. It's really a sight to behold. I I've just gotten used to it. You just come on here and then things will work good for like a few days, right? And all of a sudden, just goes like to complete trash. But no, I'm hoping over the next like 2 months, as this whole saga with the place clears, that I can hopefully finally get another PC so I can play some stuff in my my times of leisure. I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to never playing games anymore. Like unless it's some game I can beat really quickly in the span of maybe a day or two, I just don't bother with them that much. Um, in my supposed free time, I tend to write something, draw something. It's just really rare for me to sit down and just turn on a console or fire up, I guess, a ROM or whatever, and just, hey, here's this game. Fire up a file. I remember on Steam they really upset me because they got rid of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 to put them in that. I think it was what's that thing called? It wasn't Sonic Mania. That's another game. But they had some kind of bundle where you buy the games as one game that transitions to game. It just annoyed me. Like I don't know. I guess you can call me old fashioned, as one uh, insane person on here did one time. But I just if I want to play one game, I'd like to just be able to get them individually. And I think the option is nice, but it shouldn't be the only way to play it. Man, I haven't played any of the Sonic games in about over a year now. It's been so long. I remember my favorite thing about I think yeah the third one is always the attempts at getting the emeralds where I just the first two or three I can get them, but after that those special stages, especially the special stages in the first game, those are horrible. Where you're just on that I don't even know what you would call it, this constantly shifting screen and you're trying to hit against the thing to enough times to let you inside. It's bad. That's the one part of that game I never enjoyed. Apparently enough people didn't either for them to change it so drastically. Like I'm not going to pretend I have the most calm temperament ever. I get irritated sometimes these games, but I never just feel so incredibly annoyed with the special stages in 2 or 3. Whereas with the first one, it was just like, how do you even get up there? How do you even like do this? Just so that was always the thing I never looked forward to. Oh, this stuff is just so obnoxious. Yeah. But no, I'm most likely gonna see if I can get Sparking Zero whenever it releases. Um, I just hope that we actually get some more reassurances that it'll be all right. Because if there's really no GT characters, I am going to be kind of. But I noticed we've been in this thing ever since I'd say the first Raging Blast, where the rosters of these games, these fighting games, just get smaller and smaller. And it's not even just like a natural thing of like, okay, do you really need this character, that character? Like they'll just delete an entire series. Like I remember plugging in Rage and Blast for the first time, well, like 2 years after Tenkaichi 3 came out, and I was like, these are some really pretty graphics. They looks very nice. Oh, wait a second, you can't play as any character who wasn't from Z or nothing, no character that's not from the Z portion of the manga, and then you can't even use like the Great Apes or the any large character anymore. Really, that's another thing that's been getting on my nerves. All these games exclude the Ozarus. I think Spark and Zero might end up bringing it back because they have that Inilza, whatever the giant form thing from the Term of the Power was. No, I remember I had this conversation with this person about how one of the biggest criticisms I had of the Tournament of Power from a writing perspective is that you look at these 80 characters, right? These 80 contestants, and it sounds like it's this big grand tournament. I said it would have been so much better if instead of 80, they just had 40 people from the main, universe 7, the main universe, and then 11 and 6 and maybe one of the other ones. I guess 2, and those should have just been the only universes, and they compete against each other. And that way, with only 40 instead of 80, there's actually a better chance of getting some character development for both the participants and the gods who are overseeing the spectators. And it's unfortunate that when you try to explain, because I've noticed a thing now where when I try to tell fans, hey, look, I like this, or maybe I don't like it, whatever. But this is something because my thing is to always give an alternative when I criticize, like, to be constructive. Like, hey, look, I didn't think this was written this well, or maybe I didn't like this particular decision that was made. They could have done this, etc. Because I think when someone gives their version of what could have been done, it's a lot more constructive. It doesn't just sound like someone is critiquing something for the sake of critiquing something. It actually can give off the impression of a person who wanted a story to succeed or otherwise, you know, fulfill whatever ideas they had. Just like I remember having this conversation with this one fool who I was complaining about. I think it was like a whole movie where the supposed main character is just like too injured to do anything, and they were like, "Well, what were they supposed to do?" And I'm like, Okay, first of all, in any given story, where there's like stakes and consequences and some kind of like violence, right? Fighting. Um, Ideally, you're supposed to, if you're trying, again, you're presumably story centers around this one character, either give them enough, like do enough of a time skip to where they can heal and then be ready to participate in the next installment, or write the story to where they can still participate even if they're injured. So, for example, they could have had the next movie episode, whatever, take place several months later, several weeks later, after all the healing has been done and this person is back on their feet, and then that handicap that stopped them from being able to participate more actively in the story would now no longer be there. But that's why I said people, they're so quick to say, what else could they have done instead of, what would you do? Just how to take me through your idea of how this could be plotted out. Just like I was saying, one of the things I really like about the rival dynamic is when you have a character who is pushing for something, because relationships can be positive even if they're not entirely friendly. Like there's a lot of rivals in sports and just in various competitions who, for example, may motivate their opponents or the people that are also competing for the same goal to be more aggressive or more assertive, more far reaching in whatever plot they have. And that can still be seen as a positive, even if the two people don't get along, whatever the specifics of their dynamic may be. As long as they are in some way a main motivator or a factor in that person wanting to improve in some area that is constructive, it's really not a bad thing for them to be a part of their life. Uh, that's why when I was writing this one story, I had this rivalry between these two characters where it's like this woman who's slightly older than this man, and uh, she believes, hey, people didn't, they called me a freak when they found out I had powers, so I really couldn't care less about them, and he's more open to assisting people with his abilities, and they're both connected by um, one of the male character's relatives, and they both will do anything for him. If something's wrong with him, they'll come and assist him. Uh, and you're given, reasons as to why this is the case for both of them. I mean, relative of one, and then you do all this other stuff for the other. So even if their relationship is not friendly, or at least as outwardly friendly as something that would be between friends, there's still a built-in mechanic. Like there's still a person that links them together. A common goal, if you will. Yeah, I don't know, I guess on a more philosophical level, I could say I was it's a way of putting it. Like, I've always believed in hard work. I do believe in the idea that, and this doesn't always come to be the case, but I do think that there tends to be a correlation between people who are successful, you know, um, and people who are not, and how hard they're willing to work. Now, obviously, there are other factors as well. Some people have inherited wealth. Some people have famous friends. People, someone that can like assist them in ways where they probably couldn't have done it by themselves. But I still do believe that in almost every case, you're more likely to achieve something if you work for it or try towards it. Again, it's just in general, I believe that. Um, let me tell you, when you do those documentaries and you write out some dozen page script or 20 something page script and you go through hundreds of pages of a book, it's it's not something I take lightly. I got into the habit of not giving release dates of stuff because I really don't. I always like to have a general idea of when I think I'll finish something, but then not give a specific day because it'll make me inclined to try to like rush towards that. And then if I don't hit that deadline, I feel bad or not guilty, but just like, like you misled someone. Like, oh yeah, this is gonna come out next Saturday, and then next Saturday comes and passes and doesn't come out. Because I remember there was this one group of people, they said we're gonna put out some, I think, episode of their show or whatever in like it might have been January or March of like must be almost 10 years ago, and it took them at least 2 more months to finally put it out. Now, of course, there were other things happening behind the scenes. I didn't go and mess with anybody. Go, how dare you not put this up? But just those are the kind of things that I don't want to see happen. Where I tell you, oh yeah, I'll have this done by next week, and then yeah, I'm just very careful not to get caught up in the habit of doing that because I don't want to, lead someone off a cliff where they trust me, and then I'm like, got you, and then they fall. I mean, when it comes to writing influences, I do tend to put a lot of stock into the different things I've read or watched. Um, like one of my favorite just comic runs ever was Chris Claremont's X-Men because there was this wave of excitement I had every time I read a new issue. And I felt that he more than probably any other comic writer, because he was on that book for like 15 years, so a really long time. I felt like he more than most comic writers actually had like long-term plans and wanted to progress the story. And I remember one of his original ideas was to gradually phase out the older X-Men members and then have them like only come around for special occasions. But then the lovely Marvel editorial group got involved, and they I mean, one of my favorite stories ever in reading comics is Cyclops abandoning his wife and child for his high school girlfriend. Lovely X Factor. No, I mean, whether it's the Dark Phoenix saga or Days of Future Past, or even just some of the like singular issues, I always found that era so like it's the reason that people like X-Men. I mean, he took a book that got canceled after I think it was what 4 or 5 years that was only running reprints for several years, and launched it to become one of Marvel's most successful properties, period. And more than any other comic property, I really despise the fact because X-Men has so many good characters, and I've maintained that they have the same problem that Transformers has in live action, where there's too many characters to be able to do justice in some crappy 2 hour movie, so they just focus on like the same 4 or 5 right over and over again. Hey, haven't heard from you. Oh, don't start that with me, Rev. You're the one that disappeared. No, 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 no. You vanished. You disappeared so effectively that Jimmy Hoffa would be blushing. I mean, that's ridiculous. So you should be the last person saying you haven't heard from someone in a while. You flew the coop. Yeah. You would reappear on the stream where they where YouTube is so crappy that they have the side chat feature blocked out by the I've never seen this before where just the whole box on the side it just says something went wrong. So that's it's fitting that you would be on that stream. What time is it even over there? 3 a.m. Yeah, this is when I usually stream. It started because my living conditions and I knew when if I streamed this early then nobody would wake up and interrupt me. Uh, but because my job mostly has me work in the afternoons to early morning, I tend to be asleep during the morning and then awake during the nights. So that schedule is the result of my employer. Yeah, I'm very disappointed in you. I thought we would speak again, but you decided to vanish. You decided to fade into obscurity like Android 20. Very disappointed. I waited month after month for Rev to reappear, but just like Jesus, he never came back. There's some actor that's going to be at some convention, I think, in like a month or 2 months. And I remember I had passed up the chance to get a picture with them last year. So it's nice to be able to have the possibility of doing that again. I just wish the place wasn't so damn far away. I mean, yeah, I've had it for 9 months. I guess so. It must be going all right for them to retain me for that long. Yeah, just very disappointed in Rev. He used to be someone I trusted, someone I believed in, but not anymore. He flew the coop. He spread his wings and it went like this. I mean, it's whatever. People are always trying to run out on me. Not even surprised. Whenever a month goes by here from Rev, I just look at my computer screen and I go, "Yep," and then I just keep on trucking. Because now we're used to how you do things. It's not surprising anymore. You're a very aggravating character. You never reach out. If when we send you postcards, you either ignore them or burn them. Um, we contact your sister to get a hold of you. She says you're missing in action, like a damn POW. So I don't know what to make of you. Very confusing character. Let me look on the damn. So is it displaying? Yeah, it is displaying it on here. Okay, so good. I can look over there and see it. Yeah, to keep relying on the phone. I mean, you don't even like Ben Affleck. When you didn't go to see Black Adam, that's one of the reasons why his universe got canceled. If you had just gone to see BVS 20 times, they would have made Justice League Part 2 and 3. They were all waiting and counting on you, and you let them down. Yeah, back to work on Monday, and then I have a few days off after that. Ugh. And we round out the week with Thursday and Friday. Mm. This actually is my last Sunday off for the next 3 weeks, at a minimum. So it'll be real fun having a half weekend again. Yeah, now your friend with the glasses can't say I don't have a job anymore. Oh man, I'm surprised I don't hear that stupid rooster today. They probably cooked it. Yeah, when you read some of this stuff, you just I brought up to this person that Ann Coulter had made a comment that people aren't reading books anymore, so she's probably not going to write another book, and that by the time you get the information, it's already like outdated. And I said, my thing is, regardless of sales, people should always have the desire to take information about an important subject and have it compiled in one place, because it's important for it to be retained in one area. I mean, most people are not reading articles on WikiPiss, at least most of the articles on that site, but it doesn't mean we should take them down or just stop contributing. Of course, I stopped contributing because they treated me like garbage, but that's another story. I just think it's a really dangerous mindset that if you don't think there's a big enough audience for something, just don't even bother with it, especially when it has to do with information. Well, he ain't even, so I guess he doesn't have much room to talk. Yeah, I know you've been watching him. You're trying to get back in his good graces. I know that he gave you some kind of like 2-for-1 deal where if you pledge your allegiance to him, he's going to mail out a gaming chair for you, and he'll get you what's that XSplit, that screen thing he uses where the where like he can put the weird like cartoon pictures in the background, and then when you stream, you're going to start all of your streams with the same song that he uses. People that makes great points sometimes are completely off of what they say. Majority can't stand. Well, you're more of a Tucker Carlson person, so I'm not too surprised you would try to say something negative about her. You're more of a Tucker guy. But no, the stuff with your friend is a perfect example of just how insane the some of these internet people are. I mean, I couldn't imagine in a million years having channels with hundreds of thousands of subs backing me, right? All like coming and joining me on my crusade to mess with somebody or get them off the site, but then I'm gonna like turn back on them and start attacking this. It's weird. I think what it is sometimes people get that little like taste of it of fame and they start thinking they're like insanely ultra powerful. Because I remember that 6 hour stream he did on a certain content creator, and that thing received his highest number of views ever for a stream. It was 30,000 on a stream. On a channel that I think had like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 subs, right? As far as I can tell, he never cracked 10,000. But it's like you get all that attention, all those people are sharing your stuff, supporting you, and you throw it all in the trash so you can sit here and troll some deceased person's fans and then mess with some other guy. Just no, you were sitting over there laughing at the drama. You're going, that's my guy. So you should be the last one to say anything about your former pal. I don't even know if he's your former pal. You could have been in his server tonight. He could have told you to go and run surveillance. No, you're getting laughed at intensely. Oh man. Biggest I've ever no. You say that now, but I remember him in his heyday. You were one of his biggest supporters. This man couldn't breathe without Rev. You were connected at the hip. You were in the tank. Oh, I hear the rooster now. Great. You mention enough times and suddenly it appears. Terrific. I know I don't see the sun coming. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Not 3 a.m. That's not for another 2 hours. 2024 means a completely different person compared to then. Yeah, not too different. The old Rev used to call me and ask me how I was doing. The new Rev disappears. He vanishes. He fades away. He plays hide and seek. I mean, I don't know what's become of him. He'd rather go talk to all of his native friends than speak to someone over the over the data stream. And look, just reading books and seeing all the different fonts in them is what's fascinating to me. You look at something on one page, and it'll look like it should be the enormous typing of another. Let's see here. Man. No, I don't know what happened to you. I must have offended you in some way I wasn't familiar with. Because I kept all of your secrets hidden. I didn't tell anybody about any of your sinister suits. Um, that time you were cheating with that one politician's wife in Ohio. I didn't mention any of that. I kept all of it a secret under wraps, and this is the reward I was given: being completely shut out and dusted off like some old coffee table. I couldn't believe it. Should change the name of the stream to "Betrayed by Rev." Oh, them in this damn thing. Hmm. I wish I could get some of those damn covers so that I keep some of these dust jackets from getting all bent up. Mm. Would you figure out what picture, what year that picture was from? This really does feel like something out of like a skit or something, where like the one time that Rev finally decides to reappear on the stream, it's where my YouTube chat is acting like trash. Why am I not surprised? God, the timing of these people is just pitch perfect. It's terrific. 10 out of 10. Hmm. No, I don't know what's come over Rev. I think he's turned heel. He's gone the route of a lot of wrestlers. He started off as a good guy, but he started morphing and morphing, and now he's reached his final form. I don't know what happened to him. I can only speculate. But yeah, besides Claremont, I think who's another one? Toriyama as an it's weird because there's parts of his writing I really like. But then there's also some stuff I'm not the biggest fan of, and he doesn't have it as much as someone like Kishimoto, but just the whole phasing out of characters as the story progresses, and just seemingly not knowing what to do with them anymore. That's something he started and that Kishimoto inherited. But both of them are I guess, artistic influences for me in terms of just poses that they would make, and some of the designs I really like. Well, a lot of people, you can tell they were much better as artists than writers. Like you see some of that art, it's so beautiful, and you're like, why can't the story match this? Rev is saying he agrees, but he's only saying that so he can get back in my good graces. This is what he does. He butters you up so he can make you think he likes you, and then he ditches you and he's like, haha, I got you. So I'm not falling for it. Rev, after that stunt you pulled last year, the misreading is over. We've read you now all the way through. Look, hey, where is it? This is me reading Rev. Yep, 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 yep. That was me reading you. I know who I'm dealing with now. I won't be tricked, fooled, conned, scammed. None of it anymore. We know what you're about. We have read Rev. Um. Hmm. Who else will I put in there? Yeah, Kishimoto's designs are really good. I like the look of the Akatsuki, where it's just these guys in these overcoats who all are distinct looking, but they have that one common. And that's something that both Toriyama and Kishimoto have, which is there's some uniform aspect of their series, right? So with Dragon Ball, you have the Turtle Hermit, Orange Gi, and then later on you have the uh, Saiyan armor, which the different Frieza members also wear. Uh, and of course, when you get to the Buu Saga, you have the Majin symbol that's on the foreheads of all the people that Babidi possesses or empowered with his magic. So there's that with him, and then with Kishimoto, you have what's actually a pretty diverse group of looks until you get to the Chunin rank, where everyone wears that green vest, and of course, and I've said this before, the one criticism I've always had of him as an artist is, for some reason, I don't know any other series that does this. For some reason, every single character has to wear the same damn shoe. I don't know why, but maybe Kishimoto just thinks sandals are the prettiest things in the world. I just don't understand. Kishimoto design for outfit. Well, that's my only criticism of him, just as an artist. Just that I get tired of seeing the same shoe over and over. Imagine if in Dragon Ball everybody just wore Goku's boot, like that blue boot with the red line going up and down. I'm serious. You go through Naruto, every character, sandal, 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 sandal. The laziest design, one of the laziest design choices I've seen for any series. I don't care who gets mad. Oh no, how could you say this? In your heart, you know it's all true. People can rage quit. They can write a barrage of angry messages, but it's reality. And of course, we can always talk about the elephant in the room and Kishimoto and his female characters being kind of, that's something else people criticize him over, which is so weird because it's like, you look at, you know, Gara, Neji, Rock Lee, uh, I mean, Naruto himself. It's like he has no problem writing a character that I can find interesting. I just don't know why you can't translate that to any of the female ones. Like besides Tsunade, it's really a barren wasteland. I noticed you've been getting. What do you mean you noticed I've been getting views lately? What does that mean? You've been sitting there eyeing my analytics daily? I don't know what you're referring to. I had 2,000 subs last year, the year before that, the year before that, and I will have 2,000 for the foreseeable future. It is what it is. As I've stated many times in the past, I do not understand the point of getting excited about subscribers when most of them don't even watch. It's a mystery to me. No, I remember that you can just like go through the whole series of Naruto and just find like characters with like an interesting premise, and then they get like thrown in the trash. I mean, oh, look at Anko. She was one of Orochimaru's students, and she had experiments done on her, and da, da, da. I'm like, oh, cool. She's going to be a very important person as they try to defeat the main antagonist of part one, right? Nope. Oh man, look at Rock Lee. He survived probably the best fight in the entire series versus Gaara, and then he saved the day, or helped his Naruto in his quest to find Sasuke by fighting while he was basically intoxicated. Oh, surely he's going to have some big huge role and power boost in part two, right? Nope. Dude, even with Orochimaru, it's like all the build up to him as the final scourge of the village, and it's like for a big chunk of part two, he's not even there. He's just sitting absorbed. I remember I read one interview where originally Neji and Choji were supposed to die during the Sasuke retrieval arc, which I can completely believe because you look at them in part two, Kishimoto doesn't know what to do with them. It's really ridiculous. Yes, considering the most he gotten from. I mean, I said I wasn't going to do a documentary unless people watched it. So, like, that's one of the reasons I put it in parts. I'm not going to sit here and make some 7, 8, 9 hour video for people to watch at one time and then, like, not share it. I don't know what sense that would make. Here's 8 hours on Trump. Doesn't make a lick of sense. Oh man, I already know today is gonna be so insane. I feel like every time I get a day off, it's just a prelude to another side quest. Like, if you're not going to a job, you're having to run some errand or do something related to this place. It's crazy. Telling you, it's just so crazy to me. To keep this going, I guess. Hmm, who else could I throw out there? I did really like the Brian Michael Bendis run on Ultimate Spider-Man from back in, I think it was like 2000. Um, because even though it had decompressed storytelling where it's like it takes must be 4, 5, 6 issues to get the origin done for Peter, I still thought it like had its place. It had a reason to exist. It was something that was designed to get new readers interested in an old idea with a more modern version of it. Uh, but I still like the Ditko and Lee run for like the original 30 some issues. Or I guess 100 if you count Ramita in there as well. But really, in those first 30 issues, you have this like quick succession of all these like iconic villains. Like it's like three villains that don't appear during that time who are, or maybe like four, right? 4 or 5 that are not part of the original run by the two co-creators of that character. Man, this weather is so lovely. If you really want on the go. I mean, you love MTG. That's your favorite American woman. You hope she runs for president in 2028 and wins so you can have a reason to come and stay over here. You're part of the MTG 2028 committee. Get a water. That's your hero. I've never seen a congresswoman with only 2 terms get as much attention as she does. Like, there's definitely something in the algorithm relating to that lady. I've seen must be 4 different videos on her just get a bunch of attention. I mean, yeah, I have an embargo on her. It's her, Haley, Mace, Britt, what's the lady from Arkansas? Sanders, Lake, Noam, and Stefanik. Those eight. Anytime I see a story with them, I try to take it, do a video on it as quick as I can. Like Mace was on, I believe CNN yesterday, and they asked her about Trump's like claiming that Harris is not really African American or some kind of nonsense. And she was like, "Well, I didn't hear him say that. I can't comment on something I didn't hear." And they like told her to her face that she's part of a cult. Uh, so that's going to be interesting to try to cover. I'll probably, if that's on my video for tomorrow, then it'll be my video within the week. But yeah, those eight. Whenever I see something with them, I try to do a video where you play the clip, you get all the rest of it. We always have to give them special attention because I think all of them, if not most of them, are going to run for president. If not in 2028, then later on. I like Maester, her and McLean are all right. The rest are like meh. Well, I mean, you can say that, but when it's 2029 and President Britt is governing, like you know, Alabama has taken over the whole U.S., then you'll really be sorry that you didn't go on the Brit hype train earlier. Oh man, dude, Mace was so. I did this video on her at the RNC where her speech was just whatever, generic Biden bashing stuff. We've seen it all before. But like what she did after the speech was so weird, where she like posted a picture of herself with her shoes off, and it's like, why do your followers need to see this? Like, what is the purpose of that? Oh, and she did backstab Haley too because Haley supported her when she ran for the House, and during that primary, she kept herself tight-lipped, would not endorse Haley, endorse Trump. So you see how loyal she is. So these people will do anything for a little bit of influence and power. It's really sad. In the words of Mace, you're full of. Oh yeah, I didn't get to cover that. Don't worry, we'll have our. I did my Carrie Lake cringe compilation. I'm still trying to do my Marjorie Taylor Greene cringe compilation and my Christy Noam cringe compilation. And then if those three videos are successful, maybe we can do some on the other members of the eight. Noam gave the biggest self owning I'd ever seen. I mean, here's a lady who went from being a top contender for Trump's VP to someone that brags about killing an animal in her stupid book. Like just openly admits to it. That's why I kept predicting that she's probably gonna run in 2028 because there's nowhere else for her to go. Like she can't run for any offices in South Dakota, a state where she's banned by. She's actually banned from visiting. I think an eighth of the state because she had all these different feuds with the tribes over there. So you're not going to see her have much of a lane after after the next couple of years. Yeah, that's the thing though. Remember when Boebert used to be relevant, now hardly being mentioned anywhere. Well, I mean, I remember when Boebert was being talked about. I remember when Biden went to her district and called her a MAGA leader, but the thing is, she never was as important as MTG. Like MTG's been floated as a potential Senate candidate, right? Someone who could run for a Senate seat or possibly be Trump's VP. I'm telling you, this is all stuff that's been speculated about her. The sky's the limit in terms of just what people think she'll end up doing if she gets more power or a higher position. But I've never seen that for Boebert. Like for Boebert, it's been I sit in this congressional district where I almost lost. I'm so scared to run again that I'm going to go and run in another district that's more red so I can have a safer time staying in Congress. And she can't run for senator in her state because it's blue. So there's really like no lane for her. She's like her being a congresswoman is as good as it gets. Anything short of cabinet job, she's done. But no, you're right. I don't see her getting referenced that much. She seems to have fallen off the radar. I don't even know if she spoke at the damn RNC. If she did, I didn't see it. I mean, she really did. Like, I remember knowing from back when she was in the House. I mean, she was a member of Congress. Like, this is a lady who became a congresswoman because she defeated the Democrats. I'm forgetting her name. I think it was Stephanie something, but she beat the Democrat who had the job. And she kind of, just was like in the House, whatever, and ran for this seat for governor. Almost did come close to losing. She won by like 3-4 points, and that's a big deal because South Dakota is a red state where the Republicans have held the governorship for 40 years, and she almost lost it. But she becomes governor. I guess the voters really like what she did over there with her whole, let's ignore mask mandates and pretend that we can just spread this virus and not have anyone get sick. She gets reelected and then is just kind of, coasting, right? Waiting to see if she can get picked to be Trump's VP. And then she puts out this, and politicians write books, okay, whatever, that's fine. But she puts out this book where she reveals that she took out a dog to a gravel pit because it was useless as a hunting dog and it attacked her kids. Stuff just makes you want to vomit. No, MTG was a troll online. She would go and do stuff on Facebook, and then she ran for that House seat. Oh man, it's such a bizarre morning. The reappearance of Rev, who would have guessed? Because I remember her and Stein were trolling together and going insanely viral back in. Um, I'm just saying, as far as I can tell, her earliest prominence was with a lot of that Facebook stuff. No, I did this video on Kerry Lake and it got way more attention than I thought it would. I said, how does somebody lose a governor race? And then after losing the governor race, they say it was stolen. No proof. All their evidence gets thrown out of court because there is no evidence. All these lawsuits, rather. And then they run for a Senate seat 2 years later in the same state where they say things are rigged against them. So when she loses that Senate seat in November, get ready for some more frivolous lawsuits. It's so amazing to me how like a politician can just keep falling upward, Like you're running in a state where Republicans have been in power for years and you lose a statewide race and you stay relevant by claiming it was taken, they took it, they took it, they took it, they took it. And now you're running for another seat and people are like they're giving her money. They're saying they're going to vote for her. She won the primary, so she is running for Senate. We're only 3 months away from seeing the Democrats keep that seat. Less than 3 months away, actually. I should donate to her out of pity. Get a lake hat. I like keeping all the memorabilia of all the insane people that live in the U.S. Like I still have the Nikki Haley hat when she was running for president. Oh no, I've been accused of being that for Brit because I had one of my subs say that I guess this one guy watched my channel say she's going to be the Republican nominee in 2028. So we've just been like hyping her up, like yeah, this is the next person after Trump. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, you can keep laughing, but once she takes over, you're through. Say goodbye to TikTok. It's over. Oh man. I see Rev is back to trolling. You're gonna never accuse me of being Haley's biggest fan. I mean, I just didn't want Trump to win the primary. Like that was the only motivation behind backing her. I was like, hey, oh, by the way, if you don't mind, you think Harris is going to win because I personally don't for numerous reasons. Well, you can personally not believe that for numerous reasons, and I don't think anyone with any common sense would swing one way definitively or not when you're 3 months away from the election. But the way things are going so far, where she's out fundraising Trump, the polling is getting better for her. The Republicans have shown they're really not attacking her on stuff that's actually going to be effective. I hear Trump saying that he didn't know when she decided to identify as being black, and They're going around talking about the socialist ticket, which most people don't even know what the hell that even means, nor does it actually articulate a criticism of Harris as a kid. So they're really flailing in every possible way right now. So as things currently stand, I lean towards her winning. If they don't switch it up and get a better strategy than what they're employing, we may end up seeing the second president born in California and the first woman. I mean, I'm serious. They do. I've been watching Trump rallies, him and Vance, and it's like something out of a circus. These people don't have any good critiques of her. And there's plenty of them to throw around, but they're just not effective. Because remember, we've only had the dynamic of Trump and Vance versus Harris and Walz for like a week now. And all the attacks they've thrown out are just generic stuff they would be saying about any Democrat. They are socialist. They are communist. It's like, okay, good, buddy, I guess. Yeah, that's really going to swing voters in Michigan. I know you love Trump like he's your dad, but I don't if he doesn't switch his stuff up, he could be smelling something unpleasant in November. That's all I'm gonna say. Amen, Vance. The siren song of defeat. Still laughing at Cornel West. He said that Vance sold his soul to be on Trump's ticket. It's like I'm not surprised that people don't have any integrity. Like he wrote some book that I've been told was okay, hillbilly elegy or effigy or whatever the hell. And then after becoming a politician, he started taking that corporate money, and now says things that are different from what he said before. I mean, that's just the way it goes. If people want some power, they will flip flop and switch and turn. I feel bad for anyone that believes he's actually like on their side. Just because he wrote a supposedly decent book, they are the first ones to be conned. Oh, I knew, dude. I told you it wouldn't be Vivek or okay. First of all, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell Trump is going to pick someone that ran against him for VP. We knew this all the way back in 2016. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pick Cruz, who, if you remember, came in second place in that primary by a pretty wide margin. Like it was Trump, Cruz, Rubio, and Kasich that all won at least a state. Everybody else didn't get anything. But we knew from back then that he wasn't going to pick somebody that ran against him, so Vivek was automatically disqualified. Secondly, there would be no reason in any realistic world that he would pick a person who ran for the Democratic nomination for president exactly one cycle ago as his VP. That wouldn't make any sense. Nobody would trust her. He would be right for not trusting her. Thinking she's just a chameleon snake in the grass, which is exactly what Tulsi is. So she got what's coming to her. Her 3-year grift of playing up to the Republicans. I'm now suddenly against this and for that and against this and for that. I'm glad it all was for nothing. It's what she deserves. Bush wasn't close. Do some research. Bush didn't win any states. Look, Rev, I don't know when you got into politics, but this stuff is readily available. You can watch this channel and figure out where Bush came in. But no, if you thought Vivek was getting picked, then somebody gave you some bad info. But here, hey, cheer up. Vivek might not have been picked, but at least his home state got picked, Ohio, which Trump was going to win anyway. So it's like, what's even the point? But whatever. But whether it was Vivek or Vance or Turncoat Tulsi, I don't think any of these people are really that helpful for Trump. Like I said, we're going to find out in less than 3 months how helpful Vance was for Trump, and I don't think it's going to be that great of a result for their side. That's what's it's like. All the Republicans were bragging about, "Ooh, Trump had a rally in the Bronx of New York, and you know, what's the governor's name? Kathy Hochul just barely won." It's like, okay, yeah, she didn't do as well as Democrats normally do, but if you guys really believe you're going to flip New York, which is Trump's home state, or at least, before he switched over to saying he now lives in Florida, then why doesn't he pick Stefanik as his running mate? So New York can be represented by the Republican ticket if you guys are so confident you can win it. I truly believe if he was going to pick any first term senator, it should have been Britt. That's just my opinion. We can agree to disagree. But no, I don't know who Rev was watching that told him that Vivek had a chance, but he needs to get a refund from that person. They gave him some bad info. Vivek would sooner be my running mate than Trump's. Really, you don't think Vivek is a great asset for Trump? He's really like the smartest and strategically competent. Okay, I don't know what you're basing that off of. Um, Rev, his election strategy, like his electoral strategy, was I am not Trump, but I have all of his positions and I am running against him. Vote for me. So for that reason, it wasn't really a big surprise that he fanned out after the first state. Like they voted in one state and he came in like what, fourth, fifth place and was just done. He even had Stephen King, the disgraced former congressman from Iowa, like campaigning for him, and that didn't do anything but make him look even more insane. Like thinking that people want to, dude. King was disavowed by his own party before they finally got rid of him. When I say got rid of him, I mean they voted him out. So I don't know where you get this idea from that Vivek is some brilliant genius. If he was, he would have won the primary or at least came close. The only person in that whole primary that won anything besides Trump was Haley. Right. My point is that if he was as smart as you're trying to make him seem, he probably wouldn't have run against Trump in the first place, or dropped out much earlier than he did. I mean, I remember those horrible interviews before the Iowa caucus. He made it sound like there was going to be this miracle. It's like, man, every poll has Trump leading by like 20 points. Get out of here. Like all the people who want to be president should have just waited. Like DeSantis should have just wasted. He did waste money on that campaign, but he should have just waited. Vivek should have just waited. I don't know what's wrong with these people, and it's like they're not even. Remember, Vivek is not even 40, so it's like why couldn't you just wait until whether Trump wins or loses this time around? He's not going to be able. He's most certainly not going to run again in 2028. And then run at that point and pretend to be his true disciple. Like Why run a campaign against someone who not only are you being outpolled by in some states 30, 40, 50 points, but you're saying that he was the best president of the last 20 years. Okay, so like why run against him? What sense does that make? It's stupid. Trump was so amazing. Okay, why are you running against him if he's so great? Why would I pick you over him? No logic. People make some decisions and choices I just can't understand. By the way, is it possible to switch up after you already announced one? What do you mean? If is it possible to switch up, as in stop running for president? Yeah, they do all the time. They suspend their campaigns. You can announce you're running for president and drop out a week later. I mean, it's you don't have to have these months long vanity projects that don't go anywhere. I maintain Vivek only ran so he could get some attention for himself because his little YouTube channel, that thing's at what, 500,000 subs now. And think how sad this is. Like, whether you like me or not, I don't like, my channel is the size that it is not because my mom and dad gave it to me or my grandparents, went and donated to the site. Like there is no assistance or any artificial growth on my part. It's like he used all this money for this campaign to make himself bigger in the public zeitgeist. Like, more people know who he is now than 2 years ago, only because he ran for president in a campaign that he knew he had no chance of winning because the party is so Trump devoted. They would vote for this man until he was 100 years old or older than that. No, like, if Trump decides he wants to replace Vance Vivek, so he can do that now or he can't. It depends on if the state deadlines have gone in. So when you're running for an office, you have to make sure your name is on the ballot for people to vote for you. If the deadline is passed, he can't get rid of Vance. He's stuck with him. So that'll be real fun. That'll be real comedic. Where Trump is just sitting there like the night before the deadline. He's like, "What have I done?" You're fired. No, this is the circus election. Everybody's doing dumb and weird stuff. I'm telling you, Trump really thought it was going to be an easy 4 months. Just keep attacking Biden. He's old. He's old. He's old. He doesn't know where he is. Da, 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 da. You got Katie Britt. Biden is dithered and diminished. But man, when they swapped him out for Harris, that was like opening up a unleashing a nuke on the campaign. Like, they were completely unprepared. You can tell too. They lose. There's going to be one decision that was made that just threw this whole thing against them. It'll be real fun. Honestly curious, say if I were to swap out Vivek with Trump, how do you think he would fare up against the Democrats? Um, well, I mean, you'd have to wait until probably 2028 for Vivek to even be able to run again and have any. And dude, like the problem is when I keep thinking about that cycle, there's going to be so many Republicans that are like, Trump's finally gone. I can, I can try again, achieve my lifelong goal. Um, Vivek has no electoral history, like outside of this primary, this last election cycle, where he did very poorly. So, I mean, people talk about, oh, Harris, she lost the Democratic primary. It's like, yeah, but she still won every single race, as far as I can tell, that she was involved in, going back to her days as district attorney in San Francisco. So it's hard to quantify how Vivek would be as a campaigner because he's never had to campaign against Democrats. His only role has been as Trump surrogate. So I just I would still give it to Harris because she's the more experienced campaigner. Um, I don't believe Vivek has either the name recognition or likability of Trump. And again, Trump came into that primary, eviscerated everyone back in 2016, and then won the general election. Vivek underperformed here. Maybe in 4 years something could change, but as things currently stand, I think he would have been creamed. Who do you think the independents are more likely to support or like? Oh, independents will go for Democrats. I mean, dude, that January 6th thing with Trump was a death knell to getting like regular. Even if you were one of the people who thought the criminal charges were whatever, it's like they tried to overturn an election that they were mad about that they were butthurt about the results of. Like there's no coming back from that. Especially now that the age concerns of Biden are gone because he's not on that ticket anymore. I think independents are going to go for Harris. Also, this was like not mentioned in your question. I don't believe Vivek can win a primary. I think there are just too many people. Like, if you were to have me give a hypothetical of a non-Trump primary in 4 years, it's either going to be Tucker, who people are so in love with that they follow him on these other websites, or I'd even say Vance has a better shot just from being Trump's VP pick and having more name recognition off of that. But I just I don't believe Vivek has a chance against either of them, especially not Tucker. And people are obsessed with Tucker. There was a rumor that Trump's wife was trying to get Trump to pick Tucker as his running mate. Do you think was in Yes, it was an insurrection. They were mad that their side lost the election. So, hey, let's try to overturn the results by forcing and threatening the people who are going to certify it from being able to certify it. That was crazy. That doesn't even look like something from a democratic government. It looks like something out of Venezuela. Yeah, against Tucker, definitely not. Why hasn't no one been charging? They're sitting up in jail right now. What are you talking about? But even if Tucker doesn't run, which I lean towards, he probably will. I just don't see Vivek being able to beat Vance. Like in 2028, Vance is gonna have to pick between running for senator for another term or president, and I could totally see him doing the same thing Rubio did, where he's like, I'll run for president, or I'll just not have any office anymore, and that'll be the I think that he'll be tough to beat as well. Dude, even the guy who was predicting that Britt is going to be the nominee, he said that he's a Vivek fan. He likes Vivek like you do. I don't know why you guys like him, but whatever. And he still believes that Britt will win the primary in 4 years. So even as someone who is like nominally on your side in terms of who he would prefer, he still doesn't think Ramaswamy can make it. I think he could beat Vance, definitely not Tucker. Well, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. You know, if you want to go down that path or that view, then that's on you. I think that being on that ticket with Trump is going to help Vance have a natural ability to claim that he is the rightful heir to Trump. And Vivek will attempt to do that with the whole, I'm a billionaire too angle, right? But I just don't think it'll be enough. I think people will see Vance, remember him running with Trump, kind of like associate him with that, and then go from there. Really, if it's Tucker versus Vance, it'll be even more fun because then they'll just be a complete slugfest. Hmm. No reason to be this warm at 4 in the morning. So weather is such a lovely thing, isn't it? The wonders of heat. You don't think Vance ends up like Pence? I mean, Vance won't be put in a place to where he could end up like Pence. Pence became disgraced from not going along with Trump's charade. And if Vance doesn't become VP, he can't be blamed for he can't be put in the same situation. If they lose in November, Vance can say, I served honorably with President Trump, and then spend the next 4 years, defending him, playing up that he was teamed up with him, for a few months, and then launch a campaign through that. Now, if he gets Trump's endorsement, that would help him, but he still probably wouldn't need it if he's on the ticket with him all the way through this year. I do feel bad for Pence. One of the few decisions that he made that was actually good cost him his whole political career, even though he is young enough to where he could run again in like 8 years, for example, and just see what the party looks like at that point. Over there in Indiana. You just keep asking me all these questions about this man. Like I don't even cover Vivek anymore. I've seen him on Fox repeatedly. He has his own channel. If you want to go and subscribe to him, go right ahead. But I'm just not interested in the man anymore. I think I'm treating him the same way that I treat that South Bend mayor, the transportation secretary, what was it, Pete or whatever. I don't even talk about him. Just it's like who? I remember when TYT back in the day they called themselves banning Trump, right? Where they just like wouldn't cover him anymore. And then when he ran for president, he broke the ban because they couldn't not cover him. Where Trump was one of only I think two people they've ever banned from covering, and he's the only one that was able to just break through. Just if you want Vivek videos and Vivek shows and Vivek streams and Vivek content, you can go watch him. He's been way more successful on this site than I've been. I'll admit that with no hesitation. Now, of course, I didn't have $1 billion presidential campaign to give me free advertising all across the country, but still, I have to give him credit where it's due. So if you want to go and check him out, be my guest. If that's your hero, that's the man that you believe in and have to see recordings of every day, then go ahead. Do you think Harris, instead of picking? That's how I know you don't watch me to ask me something like that. Shapiro was the worst choice. He's a pro-Israel stooge. I mean, he'll do anything Netanyahu wants. I know people who said that if she picked Shapiro, they would vote against her. The only person Harris could have picked that I would have liked more than Walsh would have been Bernie. Now, I knew she would never pick him because the Democratic donors don't want to spend 10 seconds with the possibility that he might end up becoming president. Even if he was 80 something years old, they still are afraid of that man. The thought of him having ultimate power it keeps them up at night. So I knew she wouldn't even consider him at all. He terrifies those billionaires. They shake in their boots. Some of them go to sleep, and in their dreams, they have their eyes closed. They hear that all too familiar voice. We need to tax the rich. And like, whoa. So she wasn't going to pick Sanders. Now, if she picked Sanders, this election would be over. Like a Harris Sanders ticket versus Trump Vance. It's done. Trump and Vance can go home. Man, Sanders would have had that youth vote out. Oh my God, I'm just imagining it. That's the Democratic Armageddon ticket. They're pulling out all like the only ticket that would be better than that is probably something like because like Michelle Obama and Sanders, because Michelle's one of the most popular I guess public figures, right? Like adjacent to politics, public figures in America, to where people they've just done like hypothetical polls where she beats Trump, but better than any Democrat. So if you had Michelle Bernie versus Trump Vance, cakewalk. They would get blown out. The only person the Democratic establishment hates more than Trump is Bernie. Yeah, they're afraid of Sanders. He terrifies them. They're going to lose all their money. If they increase minimum wage to more than $7.25, that's terror on earth to them. No more traveling across state lines to squeeze a few more coins out of your employees. No more shipping jobs to Mexico and Canada to save even more money. No more offshore bank accounts to pretend you only have a million when you have 100 million. That's all over. Could you imagine a Bernie and Andrew Yang ticket? No, to hell with you. No, Yang sold out. He started some Republican group. He's completely different than he was 4 years ago. No. Yang is a turncoat. Not as big a turncoat as Tulsi, but still, no. No, if it was Michelle Bernie this cycle, I wouldn't even need to do videos on it because they would just be like creaming the other side incessantly. Dude, Yang is another turncoat. Like him and Tulsi are the same thing. They pretended to be left wing, and then after a few years out of the public spotlight or after their campaign is over, they switch to something else. They are terrible. Tulsi is just more frustrating because there was a part of me back when Sanders dropped out in 2020 that really thought that she would be the heir, right? Like the person who would pick up the baton and lead us into the progressive future or whatever, and never happened. That lady completely shifted on us. Total chameleon, absolute snake. I wouldn't trust Tulsi any more than I would trust a damn. I wouldn't trust Tulsi with my vote any more than I would trust the snake with picking it up and not expecting to be bitten. That's exactly what happened. If you support her, I liked Yang too until he flipped. He joined with the former Republican governor of New Jersey to start some think tank group or whatever. I mean, he's completely shifted. I'm just picturing people who still don't know that Gabbard just flipped. And I'm also like imagining her face when she found out that Vance got selected over her. 2 years of just embracing Trump, endorsing all these horrendous candidates across America, like Lake in Arizona, who we brought up earlier. She endorsed her for governor, and it was all for nothing. No VP pick, no mentions of a cabinet position, because Trump knows that she's a snake. That lady is one of the biggest chameleons in American political history. Like in terms of politicians from the last like 20, 30 years, I have never seen one shift this hard in just a few years. I mean, and it's like she calls herself an independent. Like, no one is fooled. We know what you are. You're a Trump girl. It's like, admit it. I sit here and lie. I actually missed the chance to see her in person when she put out her new stupid book. I think it was called "For Love of Country" or something. They had an event with her at the Nixon Library. I could have driven over there, but I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to get the book signed. I didn't even buy the book. And that was the biggest insult because it's like I got Noam's dog slasher book, MTG's book, Lake's book. I would not touch Tulsi's. I said no, 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 no. You couldn't pay me to pick that thing up and read it. Look, I don't know what Yang will tell you if you interview him, but he would not have created a. There are no elected or, as far as I can tell, elected or former Republican officials that support UBI. So when he found that group with that lady who used to be governor of New Jersey, that Republican governor, that is an anti-UBI politician most likely. So he sold out. He switched his positions. That's what they do with these no labels groups. They're not about doing anything progressive or in favor of what he talked about on the damn campaign trail. It's just a grift way to get some more money and attention for himself. So I said he pulled a Tulsi. You can not believe me if you want, but if you go and look at this stuff and look at who these people are, they show you what they are. Like sometimes I look at Tulsi and I just want to vomit. That lady really disgusts me. Dude, like I'm not even kidding. Before 2020, I like in my mind floated the possibility that Sanders might lose, right? Like that was something that I just knew could happen, right? Because that I mean, again, every time someone you like runs for office, you always have to face the possibility this might not go the way you want. At least then you're not completely shocked and turned off by the stuff. You always can like have hope of, okay, we can try this again, whatever, whatever. But like I remember in the lead up to 2020, I thought that if Sanders lost, we could, whoever the Democratic nominee would be would probably would lose to Trump. And then in 2024, you've got, you know, again, before she did turn snake as well, Warren, who is not as good as Sanders, but still is someone I thought at the time I liked. You have Tulsi, right? The anti-war person, da da da, and Nina Turner. And in the 4 years since, Warren continues to lose influence because people have been sick of her since she lied on Bernie. Tulsi calls herself an independent, even all she does is endorse and hang out with Republicans all day. And Turner ran for Congress and lost in Ohio. So it's been nothing but demoralizing. If you're like left wing, like actual progressive, it's just Tulsi is literally like every progressive's nightmare. Yeah, she betrayed her side. She's a chameleon. I don't know what she did, because people who didn't live through that don't understand. Um, Biden and Harris have both been criticized for shifting positions, right? So like Harris has been called one of the most left-wing senators according to her voting record in the Senate, but when she was attorney general, she jailed parents for truancy, used prisoners to build things to get cheap labor for California, right? Just stuff that is disgusting. But whatever Harris shifts her positions to be, you're never going to see the day where she will suddenly be on Fox News. I used to be a Democrat. What happened? They left me. I think Trump should get another. You are never because as bad as these people can be, whether it's Harris, Biden, Obama, um, any of the ones that are known for doing the position shifting, they're never going to shift to such an extent that they just go over to the other party. They're like, you know what? I'm not even a Democrat anymore. I'm not even supposedly left-leaning politician. I'm just gonna go sit with the Republicans. You're never gonna see that. Tulsi is the only one because she pissed off everybody on her side nominally, and she thought that if she just kept LARPing for Trump, she would be able to get some attention for herself and possibly either get a cabinet pick or VP pick. And I knew in my heart of hearts, her getting picked as his VP was a near impossibility. I have a higher chance of getting picked as Trump's VP, or had rather. At least I didn't run for the president on the Democratic side 4 years ago. She is disgusting, man. I know that Bernie went on Fox and he had that town hall when he was running for president, him and Klobuchar. But I'm just saying that you would never see that kind of shift from most of these people, even at their worst. Like she did something that's almost unheard of, which is to just go to the other side, like forget everything I stood for before. It's the anti-war thing, right? And it's like you're the anti-war candidate, but then you're backing Trump, who, I mean, okay, Obama took us from 2 wars to 7, but Trump kept all of them going. And that's your anti-war hero, the one that took out the the Iranian general Soleimani and almost plunged the U.S. into some kind of armed conflict with Iran. The one who, when he was doing North Korea peace summits, couldn't produce a single damn concrete framework for peace because all they want to do is get mad and blame each other. You have to be kidding me. Hell, Trump, I mean, it's a joke. Tulsi, Tulsi, Tulsi. One of the most aggravating politicians in modern American history. I'm serious. If people don't want to believe politicians believe in anything and want to think they're all liars and scammers, I don't even blame them. When you see something like Gabbard, you know that it's all rotten. Who didn't start another war, according to Tulsi? I mean, my point I'm making is, and Tulsi is not good for getting info from anybody. Someone who is a peace candidate in the Dove is not going to take out the general of a country that we don't have good relationships, good relations with, I should say. Someone who is peace loving is not going to rip up a nuclear deal that the country that we were trying to surveil was actually following because they didn't like the person that it was signed under. What the hell would we look like if Trump signs a peace deal with North Korea and then, whether it had been Biden or Bernie, they're like, "Oh, I'm a Democrat. He was a Republican, so forget the peace. Back to problems with North Korea." That's not something a person who wants peace does. Yeah, right. We could have taken all their uranium. This is really what all the failed presidential candidates just make a channel. Like they just go on social media and gas up their followers with all this nonsense. Oh man. Yeah, you were right about Boba. I can remember the last time I saw a story about her. I'm sure she'll get some more attention in the coming months when this election cycle is over. And I just U.S. politics is so frustrating. Frustrating to follow, frustrating to deal with people and work too. It's just a difficult thing to put up with. The way these people act, the stuff they say and do. I really will rename the stream "Return of Rev." We're so happy to see you again. We had to sit here and talk just to you because it's been too long. The celebrations are going through the roof. I'm ecstatic. Let's see here. I'm just tired of progressives constantly being by the Democrats, so I don't blame people like Jimmy Dore gave on the Democratic Party. I personally think both parties are equally garbage. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm sick of both of them as well, but I'm more frustrated by people I like getting just, taken out by their own side. Like you look at these Democratic primaries recently with Bowman and Cory Bush, and it's just depressing. Like it seems as if all the inroads that we thought we were making were just backwards. Like you have to live in some extremely blue district with some supporters that just will not turn on you or that will show up to even be able to keep any of these house seats. And it's like if it's this hard to just keep a house seat, imagine the nightmare of trying to win a Senate seat, you know, especially over here. I had my first foray at running for office, and when I saw that 100,000 or 200,000 votes I would need to just be able to win that House seat, it was pretty demoralizing. I can tell you that. And then if you want to run for senator or governor, you're going to need at least 3 or 4 or 5 mil. And then it's like, again, you think about how big the state is, right? All the money that it would take to, oh my man. Like this district that I ran in is like the size of a few states. Like there are statewide races with less votes than, than that district. No, the only goal I have for this week is trying to finish Nixon Part 2. Mm. Right now, I have a 13-page script. I'm guessing the finished version is probably going to be somewhere around 20 something pages, and then I'll finally be able to do it. Mm. Let's see if it's almost 5. That means you're going to get the sun up in probably half an hour. Yay. I'm really excited. Super duper thrilled. I just wish the traffic hadn't been so bad yesterday because I was, driving to the job and like, I hate when you get on the freeway and it says, oh, you'll be there in 40 minutes. And then 40 minutes turns into 50 minutes. Then 50 minutes turns into 60. And it's like, you on this freeway, I think I had to be there at 3:30. I got on the freeway, I think around 1:50, which is, like 100 minutes before the shift is even supposed to start. And I didn't get there until about, I think 18 minutes before it started. Like it was a long drive. Not long in the sense of like, well, the distance is already long, but just that traffic really slows you down. Like I've seen when I get off 9, 10, 12 in the morning, the drive back is like half an hour. So traffic adds on a whole 30 something minutes. And I know if I got there late, Rev would be laughing at me. He'd be like, haha, you have to drive 30 miles just to go work somewhere. Hee 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 hee. That's what he likes to do. He likes to make you feel bad and put tears in your eyes. He likes to insult and mock. Man, this stuff gets so weird. One of my favorite things with books is just go through the index, see who gets mentioned and who doesn't. I think I'm missing a page. Some of the pages in these things are like tissue paper. You'd be real precise. By the way, if Trump was elected, what do you think would happen with the economy and the two? Well, there are more than two going on, but uh, the problem is, and this is why I said I think he's going to lose, he's not giving any specifics on what he would do with anything. Like I vaguely heard Vance mention that they support the child tax credit, which Harris supports as well. It's like, ooh, big change. Um, they're really good again at criticizing inflation, but what are they going to do to curb inflation? Really, not much has been laid out. In terms of Ukraine, Trump says a lot of stuff. If I were in office, this wouldn't be happening. He has presented no peace plan, right, of how that would be resolved if he suddenly took over. Um, Same thing with the Israeli Hamas conflict. Like, still no specifics on what would be done. Like, I guess you could vaguely say that he might support a ceasefire, but I don't think you would get much difference. So it's a depressing thought, right? But I'm telling you the truth. I don't see something changing with him. I think most of this stuff would stay the same, unfortunately. And it is very unfortunate. Like, I tried to explain that I think it's so obnoxious that he's like, if I were president, Ukraine and Russia would not have had their conflicts. No, that's something that's been brimming for years. It wouldn't have mattered if you were there or not. That has nothing to do with the US. Peace through strength, peace through bluff. Uh, and then with Israel Hamas, again, another long-term conflict that was just brewing. So neither pick is really going to hurt anything in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I just don't think these people are really as transformative as they want to sound. One of the Republican critiques of Harris has been that she's not giving any interviews, which I'd like to see some more interviews. But she gave a major speech yesterday on the economy. I didn't get to watch it because I was at work when she delivered it, or I was driving to work. I one of the two. But again, I would rather have a continuation of the few good things that Biden did than have some weird kind of nebulous anti everything nonsense with Trump. And I do really like even if I'm kind of apoplectic about Harris in terms of just, I could take her or leave her. I do like Walz. I liked him as a governor. I certainly was not expecting her to go with him. I thought she'd go with Shapiro because I never get what I want with these elections. But I was pleasantly surprised that he got picked. And I'm just not going to sit here and pretend that I despise all of these people. Like, I think him being picked helped her more than Vance being picked helped Trump. How about that way? Really despise that thing. It's so annoying. You can tell Rev is getting sleepy because he's like, I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions. I'm gonna go nap. He types in the computer, then goes back to typing. He gets to the computer. I forgot my pillow. That's the one thing I will not miss from if leave from over here and not having to hear that thing every morning or every midday. So obnoxious. Yeah, like I don't like Biden, but I think his infrastructure policy was pretty good. But like he gave up so many things he promised to deliver: minimum wage, Medicare for all. No, he didn't. He never promised Medicare for all. He promised the idea of a public option, and then that just never came to pass. That's an important distinction between him and Sanders because Sanders was the one that wanted single payer, like Denmark and Sweden, but Biden was opposed to it. The best we could get him to claim he was in favor of was a public option, and that still never was delivered. And I mean, I'm telling you, I've never once heard Trump talk about infrastructure, rebuilding roads and bridges and all these streets that are crumbling. Some of the times you drive down the streets over here, you don't even know if your tire is flat or if it's just the ground being just horrifically mangled from years and decades of neglect. Serious, I can't remember ever hearing Trump talk about infrastructure. And that's something the US needs badly. It's horrendous. Well, it's the same over in your country because you keep going to meet all those girls in those back alleys. So of course over there when you drive, it leaves the road all messed up because you get so excited from seeing them you don't really know you can't tell the difference between the steering wheel and the shaft to move it back and forth. You're so inebriated, you're like, oh, I guess this is the right place. Maybe. I don't know. It's one of the key elements, I would say. Well, yeah, if the infrastructure in a nation is bad, people can't go anywhere without damaging their cars, um, which leads them to have to pay more money to get stuff fixed. I mean, it's the domino effect. Like if one thing is screwed up, it's going to trickle down and mess you up in these other areas. No, if I get another book, it's probably going to be. I would hold off on getting Nixon Volume 2 until I finish using Volume 1 for all of the stuff I want to use for it. But yeah, if I get another book, it'll probably be Brit's book. We can hear her amazing life story. But the biggest issue is the national debt and the education system and housing crisis and migration crisis happening at the border. Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree. If you're talking about the debt, Republicans add to it all the time, so that's not going to be something that you would see changes because Trump won. Um, Trump speaks very, very infrequently about education, right? We hear about woke schools and abolishing the Department of Education, which I don't believe he'd be able to do because he said he would do it when he ran in 2016. Then he became president, didn't do anything. So that's another lie. And Vivek repeated the same thing, and that's why I didn't believe him because they've been saying get rid of the education department for 30 plus years, and they've never been able to get rid of it. Um, the housing crisis. I mean, housing experts have given suggestions of what should be done to assist with that, but am I really going to sit here and tell you that either side really pays any attention to them? So again, that's something else where, in all likelihood, it would stay the same no matter who took over. Unfortunately, because people do need housing, and like I said, the border has been one of the biggest fibs of the like Trump misinformation campaign. Biden is not some illegal immigrant loving, supporter. ICE is still a thing. They're still doing these deportations. I mean, you might not know this. Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any president before him in American history. 400,000 every year, his whole 8 years. It's like 2 million something. So again, like it's sad that people are delusional enough to think the Democrats are just these illegal immigrant loving politicians when they're not. They are neutral at best and parasitic at worst. Biden is still building. Yeah, but I mean, most illegal immigrants that come here legally and overstay visas, so it's still not going to like actually get to the root of the problem. So sick of that damn rooster. Every time I hear it, I roll my eyes. I have to say, the two biggest news stories from this year so far are the Trump shooting and the and Biden dropping out of the race. Those two tales. One of them you could kind of see coming a little bit, with the dropping out, but that shooting, man, stuff like that is really scary. And it did give Trump a boost when it happened, but I think the honeymoon period is over. It's just scary to think you live in a country where you've had all these different, passings, if you will, caused by violent means. Uh, and as the decades have passed, you start to think, hey, maybe this is like a thing of the past, right? People just they don't do that anymore. But nope, it keeps going and going and going. And you just ask yourself if that's the kind of country you want to live in. Oh, I don't have one of those, so I'm not gonna do anything to the rooster. I'm just biding my time until I can get rid of, get away from it and not have to hear it ever again. That is coming very very soon, hopefully. Tired of that damn thing. It's just obnoxious. Reb, do you have any other stuff you want to put here or state? Because I think I'm getting a little tapped out. Any other further comments, statements, thoughts, concerns, theories, beliefs? I really did, Well, I got blocked by the last person I said this to, but I did miss seeing you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I thought you had forgotten about me. I thought I was last place on the people you wanted to revisit. I thought I'd fallen out of favor with you. Thought I'd become one of your uninteresting past figures you had encountered and left to the dustbin of history. So I really want to see what else you have left to write. Oh man. No, I know this is one day where I probably won't get up until noon. Just be passed out. So Rev, I'm waiting. If you have anything else left to say, let me know. Because we hadn't spoken in so long. I really did believe I was a figure of your past with no inclination to revisit it. I was done like dinner. Yeah, my stuff is crooked. Whatever. Let me see here. Yeah, about the Trump shooting, I heard that the shooter had ties with the head of DHS, knew about that's why he purposely sabotaged. Oh man, what in the world? No, I don't. That's more conspiracy theory nonsense. Not a shred of evidence that any of that was the case. I mean, the reality is Secret Service, Trump security, whatever you want to call them, they're humans. And sometimes humans make mistakes. Sometimes they're not fully aware of all the surroundings by them. And in a case of their weakness or lack of doing their job properly, this kind of stuff can happen. That's the worst part about just like I guess the internet, just this nonsense just travels so fast. Like it'll be the same day that something happened. Did you know that this person was involved in? It's like, no, come on, give me a break. It looks like you were participants. I mean, they don't even care about accuracy or nothing. Just this must have occurred in this way or fashion. No, not really. I don't think so. I guess not. These conspiracy theories, man, they never stop. I think you did this. No, I did not. Then why wasn't this person sitting up at the rooftop? Maybe they made a mistake. No, you guys plotted this. Oh no, I just These election cycles just go on for so long. Like I remember Trump announced the year before last year, like, and we still have another 3 months to go. There's been so many twists and turns and plot developments, and I just have gradually gotten really tired of it. Like I'm excited for November just so we can finally be done with this never-ending campaign. It's just so obnoxious. Oh, who's gonna win? Will it be Trump or Kamala? It's like they're having the. I keep forgetting they're even having the DNC sooner. I guess this week or whatever. Whatever day. I know it's in August at some point, but I just kind of because there's just been so much other stuff going on that I didn't. It didn't really like register to me. Like I might not even. I covered all the big like eights speeches at the RNC. I don't think I'll do that for the DNC. I might cover maybe like Sanders and two other people, and that'll be it. Like I didn't even cover Trump's speech at the RNC because I thought it was too long and it was just generic crap. So I just said forget it. These speeches, man, they get more and more clone like. I mean, blah 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 blah. I grew up here, blah 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 blah. My mother was this, my dad was that. We have this vision. We're gonna restore this. We're gonna transform this. Just oh man, like okay, get it over with. All these issues affecting people, and I have to hear about somebody's life story. I don't know why, but the RNC just seems more fun entertaining than the DNC. I mean, I guess, but do you mean if you're talking about the convention, we haven't seen the Democratic one yet, so we don't know what's going to come out of it. There's going to be some celebrities there, so there might be something entertaining. I would have preferred if they had waited to nominate Harris at the convention because I think it would have been really entertaining in terms of just people were excited like, oh, who's going to be the Democratic nominee? But I also see where because it's so late in the election cycle, right? Just a few months to run for president. It makes sense to me that you would want that person to get started as quickly as they could, right? But it still is just so surreal, just how much has changed in just 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like, I don't even, yeah, it hasn't even been a full month since Biden dropped out. It's really just so much stuff is constantly changing and transforming. And, just it's wacky. Like, it's really nuts. But yeah, I think we can wrap this up now. Um, like I said, I know you're a big fan of Vivek. I personally can't stand the guy, him and Vance. I look forward to not having to talk about Vance ever again after November, hopefully, as we get ready for the true GOP Lord and Savior, Katie Britt, to get more recognition as she grows stronger in her influence each passing day and week and month and year, so she can reclaim the White House for the Republicans in 2028. But yeah, thanks for showing up, Rev. Um, I'm glad I finally got to see you again. I know you were sick of me, but I'm glad you showed up anyway. Hopefully, I'll see you more than twice a year if I cross my fingers and do a little dance. So I will depart to get some rest, and I hope to hear from you once more. Have a good rest of your weekend.